It's race week, guys, and it feels like absolutely forever since the last time I said that. We're heading for the Dutch Grand Prix in Zandvoort, the absolutely mega track which flows through the sand dunes. It's like a roller coaster, that lap, isn't it? And we've got that magnificent Tarzan corner, which the 18 degrees banking, the cars look absolutely spectacular going through there. The Orange Army turn out in force, and no doubt there's big reasons for that. Max Verstappen won there 2021, 2022. Can he make it a hat-trick this year? I mean, last time out we had a fantastic race, didn't we? Max Verstappen won, yes, but behind it, it looked like at one point Lewis Hamilton and the Mercedes were back on form, weren't they? They were right in there in the potential for a race win. The safety car came out, scuppered that. Eventually Lewis Hamilton finished P4, and it was George Russell that was second, followed by a Ferrari. It was an absolutely cracking race. But for this weekend we've got mixed conditions actually, so there's rain forecast for the Saturday and the Sunday. Rain potentially drying up midway through the race as things stands as the forecast. Let's see what happens. But another wet weekend, we've had a couple of them so far this weekend, and for me, I absolutely love them. It really brings a lot of excitement. They're all equalizer, isn't it? What we call it in Formula 1, so it should be absolutely spectacular. The tyres for this weekend, Pirelli are bringing the hardest in the range. They're saying that Zandvoort circuit is actually, because of the banking and the way the forces, vertical forces on the tyres, it's one of the hardest on the tyres on the calendar. It's a C1, C2 and C3. The C1 is a new tyre actually. It's the developed, it was from between the mid-range of the C1 and the C2 that we've seen last time out. So they've developed this new one called the C1. Last year's C1 is now called the C0. The teams have used it. They used it at the first race of the weekend, so nothing too major with that one, but it'll be interesting to see how they get on. And last time out actually, we actually seen all three tyre compounds get used throughout the race. I think mainly due to that safety car at the end, but we can see a two-stepper race here. That's what Pirelli predict to be the fastest, which for me is absolutely fantastic. I love that it adds that strategic element into the race when we get at least a two-stopper, and there's also that potential for a three-stopper like we seen last year. The podium predictions, oh well, Max Verstappen is on for a 9th win in a row, isn't it? Equaling Vettel's victory if he can make it a hat-trick here at Zandvoort, and for me, I can't put it past him. He's absolutely mega here. It just seems to be one of them circuits where it really must suit his driving style absolutely down to a T. So I'm going for a Max Verstappen win. So yeah, a little bit boring on that one. But behind him, it's absolutely intense, isn't it? Who is gonna get that second and third place? I mean, brilliant battle between early on. It was Aston Martin. Then we had Hamilton with the resurgent Ferrari picking up a couple of podiums. And now McLaren back in force, aren't they? But actually, going off Belgium, it was the Ferrari and Mercedes pulled out strong. Before that, it was the McLarens and the Mercedes. Aston Martin, it's been a little while since they've been on the podium, but will this break sort of help them rejig and bring them back to the front? Who knows? So I don't know who can be second in this way, because that's where the real battle is, isn't it? And has been for so far for this season. But for P2, I'm gonna go for Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton third. It should be a cracking race, no doubt. One I'm absolutely looking forward to. The surprise for me is going to be Daniel Ricciardo. I'm going to go for a P8 or P7 for him, which will be absolutely magnificent for that AlphaTauri team. Really bringing him back in the battle, with the last in the constructors out there at the moment, and really bringing them back in that battle for 7th with Williams, and a 7th place will really do that. Some of the latest news ahead of this weekend: the Zandvoort circuit have signed up for a 2-year extension. We will now be there till 2025. Well supported circuit, and actually one of the great circuits on the calendar at the moment, and the way it flows is absolutely fantastic. They've also had the news in the summer break, didn't we, that Massa is actually suing the FIA for their stance of how they dealt with the 2008 World Championship. That all comes down to the crash that Nelson Piquet Jr. did on purpose, all down to that interview that Bernie Ecclestone gave, saying that they kind of knew about that mid-season but kept stum about it. The only person that can corroborate that story is Max Mosley, who's sadly passed away since then. And so it's just down to Bernie's word, and he's come out and said, I actually don't remember giving this interview in 92, so let's see what happens with it. It's not going to be to change the result of the championship in any way. I think Massa accepts that for what it is, but it's ultimately to get some compensation for the loss of that and less of potential earnings for being a world champion going forward from there. So it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out. And the news today that the Haas team have signed up Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hülkenberg for next year. It's a 1-year extension for both drivers. Kevin Magnussen saying, look, this is my home in Formula 1. Absolutely delighted to stay on for another season. And Nico Hülkenberg actually done a brilliant job, hasn't he? His qualifying performance, as I said in the review, have been fantastic, and it absolutely makes sense to have two drivers that they weren't too sure about how well they'll work together there, and they've proven themselves that they've done a fantastic job so far this season, that they can work well, keep the cars out of the wall, keep things on track going forward. So yeah, it reduces the pressure off them for the last 10 races a little bit. They know they've got their drive sorted, and that's one team off the market for the whole silly season when the drivers jump seat, hot potato seats comes up, doesn't it, when they're jumping from one team or another, or what's happening here and there. But yeah, great news for the pair of them. I cannot wait for this weekend. It's been long in the waiting, isn't it? And actually it's a circuit that really tends to bring some decent racing we've seen in the past. Look, watch out for the qualifying review coming up on Saturday following the qualifying, and the race review on Sunday. Thanks for watching. I'll see you then.